What is going on, bulls and bears? Back with another economic update and another dose of economic reality. I almost forgot my own little saying here. I think I'm the only one that says that. There might be other channels that say that. Either way, welcome back. Let's get into some recent news. Hope everybody's doing well. I've been doing okay. It's been really hot here. I'm the kind of person that doesn't like extreme heat. I shouldn't say me. Well, kind of me, because it's my skin. My skin gets really bad when it's really hot and muggy and humid. So I've been fighting with that. Other than that, everything's going pretty good. No major health issues. Broken foot, still healing. I broke my foot in 2 places, by the way. And some of you saw the videos I did on my little knee scooter and wearing that big old boot, that crazy black boot that you see people wear. That's when they have a bad foot or ankle injury. That's me right now. I got about another month and I'll be off of it. But without further delay, let's get into the news. Let's start with Bed Bath & Beyond. Bankruptcy coming. That's what I see for Bed Bath & Beyond. Now, the stock plunged, by the way, 40%. And it was just a matter of time. And retail in general is having a difficult time, but especially higher end retail. Now, it's kind of a weird dynamic because you have the really high end retail, like the ultra expensive jewelry stores. They're doing well because remember, the top 10%, even the top 20%, they're not slowing down in their spending. They may not be investing as much in real estate and things like that, but they're still buying. And we see record yacht sales over the past couple years. The most expensive yacht sale just in the past few months, I think, was the most expensive yacht ever sold. So things like that. The ultra high end, not really much of a slowdown from my reporting. Please let me know what you think down in comments if you think there's different news. But from what I've looked at, ultra high end is not slowed down. But the high end of the middle class, stores like Bed Bath & Beyond, kind of expensive when compared to Walmart or Target. Now we see this dynamic where the middle class has shifted from Target to Walmart. Not completely, but Target's profit were down big time, 90%. And Walmart doing pretty good because they got a lot of those customers. What about the people that can no longer afford Walmart? Is that why we're seeing more 99-cent store and dollar stores business doing pretty good and actually increasing profits in some cases? So very weird dynamic. People are moving on to cheaper goods. And what's after Walmart? We talked about this a couple reports ago. What's next for people that can no longer afford Walmart or they're just afraid to spend? Is it going to be thrift stores, swap meets? Of course, the 99-cent store, we talked about that, but not even new items, used items. Yard sales, estate sales. I know people that love to go to estate sales, and people that haven't bought furniture new in ages. And I've got a very good friend that's actually coming out of bankruptcy now. And even with buying used items and rummage sale items and thrift store items, still ended up in bankruptcy. So very interesting times. A lot of people are being squeezed. Bed Bath & Beyond is one of those stores where you can find it cheaper somewhere else usually. And what I'm noticing when I went to my local Bed Bath & Beyond store, I noticed kind of a messy store, messy floors. I've only been to the one here in my neighborhood. Kind of messy. It reminds me of, you guys remember how Kmart was in the final years before the end of Kmart, before the bankruptcy? A lot of it was messy. The shelves were unkept. It wasn't straightened. And that's because, as a last resort, usually before bankruptcy, stores will cut staff hours, and therefore they only keep the people staff that are essential, like cashiers, of course. But as far as straightening the shelves, that's something that they'll usually let go or not focus so much on during financial strife and hardship. So could this be the pre-bankruptcy moment, similar to what we saw with Kmart? That's what I remember. I remember Kmart's being just messy the past few years, or the past couple years before they ended up filing bankruptcy. So Bed Bath & Beyond, big crash in their stock also. It's weird because Bed Bath & Beyond turned into a meme stock, and that's where a bunch of, I don't know about a bunch, but at least a few social media sites that talk about trading, they'll get together and they all go in on a stock and they push the stock up because you have thousands and tens of thousands of people buying the stock at the same time. even though they may be small fry investors, that's enough to move markets. And we see a lot of volatility in that stock, a lot of people trading it, swing trading it, day trading it, etc. But very interesting, Bed Bath & Beyond. Please let me know down in the comments if you think this is pre-bankruptcy times for Bed Bath & Beyond. Next topic, let's go over a couple recent headlines. Half of U.S. companies preparing to cut jobs or implement hiring freezes. Half of U.S. companies, right? So I told you, and I think all of you knew anyways, without me telling you, that this was just a matter of time. People are getting further into debt, and there's no such thing as infinite debt. Now, you look at the U.S. government spending, they can go into infinite debt. People out there do theorize that at some point, once the U.S. government can no longer even pay its debt, or can no longer pay interest on the debt, then the country is done. The country has to file bankruptcy. So maybe that's why they're afraid to raise interest rates much higher. Maybe the U.S. is on the verge of bankruptcy. I haven't read that. Could it be possible? It's possible. Could it be possible that they can take out infinite debt? Absolutely. Why? Because the money's not backed by anything. Ever since 1971, they can create endless amounts. So where does it end? If they can create endless amounts, where is the end? Right? How do you have an end of endless? Endless amounts of money can be created out of thin air, just typed up on a digital screen. So where is the end? Does there ever have to be a bankruptcy? Well, technically there doesn't. So for example, let's say Bed Bath & Beyond was to say we're bankrupt, we're filing bankruptcy, and let's say the government comes in and they say, no, we're going to rescue you. Here's your bailout. They pump in billions of dollars to save the company. That could happen. In this type of monetary madness that we're in right now, that could happen. I don't think they should do that. I don't think any failed company should be propped up. Now, people argue with that. They'll say, oh, people are going to lose their jobs. People are going to lose their jobs. Yes, people can lose jobs in one area and maybe go to work in a different sector, in a different area that's not going to file bankruptcy, right? That's more essential, that actually gives people more bang for their buck. And we see that with cable TV. A lot of people are cutting the cord, they're cutting the cable, and they're going to more streaming apps. And this is pretty interesting to me because this is what people wanted in cable all along. One of the biggest complaints about cable that I've had and that I've seen just people complain about and heard people complain about was the fact that they have all these channels, sometimes 100, sometimes several hundred, and they maybe only watch a handful of them. So have you ever wished that you could just pay for the few channels that you watch instead of paying, what is it now, $100 a month for all these hundreds of channels, most of which you don't watch? Did you ever wish that you could just pay for the ones you watch? That's what a lot of people wish, especially now with the debt levels the way they are, people trying to watch their spending. And now streaming has just taken over cable. That's right. So there's more people watching streaming platforms than there is cable. And with streaming, as you know, you can pick exactly which apps you want to put on your device, your TV, whatever. Some people it's Netflix. Some people it's a few different ones. You even have different networks that are on TV having their own apps now. We've got Disney out there with their own app. So people are now able to be more selective. And if you only have maybe 4 or 5 apps, that's much cheaper than typically even the most basic, cheaper than usually the cheapest cable subscription. So we're seeing that. We're seeing streaming overtake cable. So we're seeing a lot of signs, right? A lot of signs that things are headed south for the consumer. Now, the biggest sign is the plunging savings rate. That tells you how much money people have left over after their monthly expenses have been paid. And that's dropped now to more than a 12-year low. And that's even beyond the financial crisis, right? The financial crisis was about 14 years ago now, since the onset of that. Now we're seeing the savings rate plunge below that. Prices are much higher now than they were. People are running up debt much faster now than they were. And we see the shift. We see the shift from Target to Walmart, from cable to streaming. Now, people used to wonder why these streaming sites were able to raise their rates. Some of them, they couldn't. But some of them, they were able to raise their rates and still saw their business grow. And that's because of the shift from cable TV, where people are spending sometimes $100 just for basic cable, the shift from that over to streaming. So that's why these streaming companies can still raise their prices, in my opinion, even though people are getting further into debt, right? So at some point, people are going to have to cut off the streaming as well. And we're going to get to the point where people are going to have to cut a lot of things out of their life. Now, some of you were very surprised at my bunny video. My bunny video, I think it was just like a 3-minute video. Just threw it out there for fun. And I told my wife I would delete it. I deleted it. She said it was too embarrassing because there was poop all over the floor. Actually, I didn't even notice it. But yeah, I looked at it. There was poop on the floor. But some of you were surprised at the fact that I had spent $2,000 on these bunnies. Now, that's not me doing that by choice. I had no idea bunnies were that expensive. And I'm talking about for the whole, about a year and a half now that we've had them. If you add up all the food, all of the cages, the little feeding things, the toys, the housing, we've got a little transport thing that when we go out of town, we take them with us. We got the big bunny cage, right? So a lot of these things, they add up. The vet bills, the vet visits, neutered, all that stuff. $2,000. I had no idea. People said, you're crazy spending $2,000 on bunnies. I didn't think it was going to be $2,000, right? So let that be a lesson. So I'm going to share my embarrassing moments and my failures with you, so you can learn. Think really hard and look at all the costs before you go out and do anything. But pets, especially, pets can add up over time, and they can really be surprising. I thought bunnies rather were going to be a cheaper pet option than having a dog or a cat. I think I might have been wrong on that one, but $2,000 is not going to break me. But it's something that a lot of people, that if they're living paycheck to paycheck, that they won't want to spend $2,000 on any pet. That's for sure. I'm not in the paycheck to paycheck crowd yet. Will I be before this is all over with these costs, this cost of living? Maybe. But I'm going to keep you updated. I'm going to let you know what's going on with myself, what I see. And love reading all your comments. Thank you for supporting this channel. And we're going to wrap this one up, everybody. Be well. Bye for now. Keep stacking. Stay safe, people. Peace.